Kia ora and welcome to Beer Club. I'm Luke,
I'm Joe.
and this week we are drinking a beer from Sunshine. It is their West Coast Lager. What sort of style is this?
Yeah, it's well, they call it a West Coast Lager, also commonly called West Coast Pilsner. IPL is old school, cold IPA as well. So yeah, WCP, IPL, CIPA, as they say on the can.
Yeah, bit of everything. It's this sort of style of really light-bodied lager IPA hybrids. It goes by many different names, and there are some debates on what the style should be called, and with some grumpy people saying, "Oh, isn't that hoppy
an
lager?
IPL,
Isn't it an IPL?" Or I guess it doesn't really matter.
No.
The truth is, it's delicious.
Yeah. So this one being 4 weeks lagered, I would say most cold IPAs aren't. I think that could be a bit of a differing characteristic. So yeah, super crisp, lets those hops really sing.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount of sort of malt body, low sweetness. Yeah, exactly what you think an India Pale Lager or a cold IPA or a West Coast style Pilsner would be.
Yeah, with this style, it's best not to get too tied up with semantics and particulars. It's all about brewers wanting to craft something which tastes really delicious, and just that combination of the drinkability of a lager, of that crispness, the dry finish, the super light straw color body, and the big whack of aromatic hops is just a beautiful combination, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's perfect for the New Zealand climate, as well as we often go in depth about this, but the New Zealand beer consuming climate, because a big malty West Coast IPA that relies on the balance between sweetness and sort of aromatics, after a few months and accelerated by being kept ambient, will taste very sweet, not very hoppy, and just, not very great. Whereas this style has no balance to fall back on. So as the hops fade, it just tastes more like a lager, which is a delicious, refreshing thing anyway.
Yeah, that other style, the West Coast IPA, which we were chatting about this yesterday. It's these days it seems a lot of people just refer to a West Coast IPA as something that's bitter, versus the East Coast, the hazy beers that have no bitterness. It's all just aroma and flavour. So things change, meanings of words change, and that's fine. But also West Coast IPA traditionally means something like AleSmith or Stone IPA, these classic sort of 90s California IPAs that have that malty backbone to them. And the trend in New Zealand has been that often people talk about hating like Crystal, and they talk about, they worry if something's oxidized, if it's got a bit of malt base to it or a bit of like sweet malt balance to it. Whereas no, that is the style, but that is relatively unfashionable here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
People are all about the just really light-bodied, bitter IPAs.
Bright IPAs are growing. Yeah, cold IPAs had a huge year last year.
Yeah.
And West Coast Pilsners as well are a very popular style, which are just sort of lower ABV cold IPAs, I presume.
Yeah, similar sort of thing. And so it's a style that I really enjoy drinking, and we made a few of them at Small Gods as part of our Monster series. And when we've made them, the lagering has been an important part of it. It's, if you're going to do something, do it properly. So yeah, really awesome to chat to the Sunshine crew and know that they spent 4 weeks lagering this beer, which brewers don't often do because the difference can be minor. And it's expensive to hold up your tank for that many extra weeks.
Yeah, you could turn 2 or 3 hazies out in a 4-week period. So
yeah, we'll get a bit of fake yeast in there, and you might have things that complete fermentation in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks is quite an extended period, and obviously time is money. Speak to any brewer, and especially small brewers, and it's tank space that they are lacking. Just thinking of several brewers that I know that are just sort of packed to the rafters with tanks. There's no room for anymore. So it is a bit of a luxury to be able to keep your beer in for that much longer. And that extended lagering time gives you clarity of flavour. It gives you crispness. It's sort of a little bit hard to explain the actual difference that the extended period gives you, but you You can taste it. Well, I suppose it is clarity, right?
Yeah, I suppose if you taste a Keller version of a beer and then the clean beer, you can very much notice a difference. But yeah, just sort of cleanness and time makes everything sort of meld and relax a bit. But yeah.
Yeah, nothing harsh about this, as much as it has got a great bitterness to it, and a beautiful showcase for the hops. So this is...
It's Citra, Mosaic, and Riwaka. Yep. So Riwaka can often present very sort of grassy and herbal, often called diesely, but not so much in this. It's a little bit of that grassiness, but a bit of lime.
Definitely there,
and then you've got
lime.
Yeah,
certainly.
And Mosaic, bit passion fruity, bit sort of pineapple-y as well. But yeah, very delicious. And it's cool, a brewery like Sunshine we touched on last week, how many amazing European styles they make. They make a lot of, Bière de Gardes and Saisons and interesting things. But they also really nail their hoppy styles. They're known as well for West Coast IPAs. They put out Point Annihilation and some big sort of triple West Coast IPAs as well. And this is a great beer in what seems to be a lager series. So definitely one to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, that is really true. That like with anything, whether it's chefs or whether it's musicians, breweries become known for a certain genre, and it is rare that a brewery does fantastic hoppy beers and excellent European styles and great.
And also nails their lagers and
great lagers. So yeah, that's a really good point about Sunshine. They tick off the styles in a really good way. Whether it's a Saison or whether it's a lager, whether it's an IPA.
Probably like competing with Small Gods for number of different styles released in a year.
Yeah, a lot of eclectic, more unusual stuff, which is really awesome to see. And again, as we mentioned, we talked a little about Sunshine previously. Probably the oldest craft brewery in New Zealand. Competing would be Max, who obviously got bought out many years ago, and Mike's started up at around the same time, which became Mike's Organic Brewery, but that no longer exists. There's a venue called Mike's, but it's no longer a brewery. And there was, who else would be in there? I think that was about it, really.
Stoke? I think they're still independently owned, but yeah.
Yeah, because they came about from the McCashins family, right? That was.
So
the first brewery in New Zealand to see the sun, hence the name, and beautifully located. I think from memory they're just 1 block away from the beach, so a good place to go for a surf, grab some beers, and enjoy the beautiful country that we call home. And other news, we're snatching this video in a bit of a break. The digger has just started going again. So here at Small Gods Tap Room, in our never-ending assault by construction work, apartments getting built, train stations getting built. This week they've got diggers right outside our roller door, digging a huge trench across the pavement to sink some power lines. So a little bit of work happening here. Yeah. You're doing very well putting up with the noise in the warehouse today.
Yeah.
You've left your headphones at home.
Yeah, the driveway's dug up, so unfortunately we're experiencing lots of delivery delays and things like that. Courier drivers come up the road, see a digger in the driveway and turn around, it seems. But
yes, if you're one of the people that's drinking this a little bit late, that's received an email from Joe, this is the reason, part of the reason, because we're getting all this digging work. So it'll be nice when it's finished. And yeah, at the tap room we've got a bit going on. This Thursday, as always, we've got our pub quiz, which is always really good fun. And Friday we're open as normal, but then after 8 o'clock we've got a free gig. So local band Floral Clocks, who are just really awesome, really wonderful acoustic, sort of mysterious lyrics, cello, piano, really beautiful band. I've been supported by their friend Kraus, who's a really unique psychedelic electronic artist, and that's a totally free gig. So you can choose to chip in towards their next album recording if you like, and of course we'd love it if you bought a beer or two and supported your local tap room. But yeah, as Rebecca from the band was saying, you don't get much for free on Valentine's Day. It does seem like a money grab, and many businesses are absolutely struggling, so you kind of can't really blame florists and restaurants for wanting to cash in on the biggest day of the year. But yeah, nice that we're doing something kind of opposite to that. So yeah, come and enjoy a free show, chuck a Kohara in the pot, buy a $11 beer or two from tap, and have a wonderful night out. regardless of your relationship status. It is not going to be a lovey-dovey Valentine's type night. It will just be a fun evening of music. So hopefully see you there. Thank you to Sunshine for making a cracking beer, and thank you for joining us and drinking along. Cheers.
Cheers.